Hey everyone, Jake Nikolopoulos here with the latest episode of Progress. This episode I just wanted to keep it really chilled and laid back, just answer some questions, do some Q&A. People sent in questions for me to answer and I'm going to do my best to answer them. Obviously, I'm not going to answer the questions that are too hard and that I have no experience in and have no idea about. I'm not going to bullshit you guys by just answering it for the sake of answering it. So questions like, I got a question sent in from Giselle Gautier Macaroyo. It's a long name. She said, if it fits your macros for diabetics, hormonal response for diabetics. I'll put that in the too hard basket. I have no experience in it. I have nothing, I don't know anything about it. So don't take offense that I didn't answer it. It's because I just don't know. So, if you're wondering why I'm bouncing around, it's because I'm sitting on one of these exercise balls, okay? I'm sitting on that because apparently it's really good for your back, but the real reason why I've got it at the moment is because my fat ass broke my office chair. The gas is broken in the chair. So when I filmed the video before, I was filming it and I'd start off here and then by a minute in I'd start off, it's down there. So that's the reason why I'm sitting on a medicine ball. But you guys didn't come here to listen to me talk shit. You came for very serious questions. Bodybuilding is a very serious thing. It's not to be taken lightly. So I know you seriously want me to answer your serious questions in the most serious manner. Seriously. Alright, so the first question that we're going to answer today is from, where is it? Alright, Brady Curtin asked, I'm gonna answer, he asked. Suggestions for teenage young people who want to get into bodybuilding. When I was a teenager, Brady, I kept it very simple. I still went out, still had fun with my friends, and I still did my bodybuilding. Well, I wouldn't even call it bodybuilding when I was a teenager. I was more just training. I loved training, I loved the muscles. I wasn't training to be a bodybuilder, I was just training because I enjoyed it. And most of my mates enjoyed it too, and after school we would all go to the gym and we'd all train, or go back to my house and train at my house. But most of the time I'd just be training by myself because most of my friends weren't into it as much as I was. But that's probably, some good advice I can give is just to keep having fun. Go out, go to parties, see all your friends, because I see a lot of young guys that give that all away just for bodybuilding. All I want to do is eat, sleep and train. It's a bit of a sad existence really, and people think that that's what bodybuilders have to do, and they don't. I think that's what bodybuilders want to do, and they get stuck into that habit and then they just become lazy and they don't end up doing anything. So bodybuilding shouldn't be about that at all. Bodybuilding should be about keeping yourself active. It should be about having fun with your friends, whether it's in the gym, whether it's out partying or whatever, and then slowly ease your way into it. That's what I did. I don't think I got serious about my bodybuilding until I was probably about maybe 23 years old. I think I competed my first comp at 18, but I didn't take it seriously until about 23. Like 18, my comp, I was still going out, partying, having fun, not sleeping a hell of a lot. But I don't regret that at all, because that's what being a teenager is all about. So that sort of thing, very important, and obviously sticking to the basics, training with heavy weights, basic exercises, compound lifts, and eating properly as well. And supplements as well, learning about supplements, their role in the body, what they do, and how to use them properly. And what else was I going to say? There was one more thing I wanted to say. Completely forgot now. Okay, well I've forgotten about that last thing that I was going to say, but there was something there, it might come to me. But okay, so that's it for that question, Brady. Next question. Let's go. Brad Walters said, weak body parts and imbalances, how do you bring them up? The best way that I've brought up weak body parts is prioritize training. Prioritizing them around the workout. So if I'm training back and biceps together, but my biceps is weaker than my back, I'm going to train biceps first. If they're both weak areas, then maybe I'll do back separate and then I'll do arms on a separate day, but I'll start with biceps first. For me, my hamstrings and calves lack, so I train my hamstrings and calves first before I train my quads. No matter what, even if my quad workout suffers, it doesn't matter, because I find if I start with squats and I start with quad dominant exercises at the start, my quads respond quite well, yet my hamstrings and calves, they don't. So prioritize your training. That's the best way to bring up any weak point. I don't think overtraining is really good. People say, oh, I train calves every single day. If you're training them properly and training them hard, you should only be able to train them probably once every second day or once every third day with calves. Bigger body parts, you'd probably still only be able to do it once every, I still only do them once every 5 days, but you know, you can do them closer together. I suppose it depends on how hard you train and how sore you are after your training. I know for me personally, I usually can't train that body part for 5 days if I've trained like chest or back or legs. So I hope that answers that. Now, Ricky McCauley says, how does your training change from off-season then into the lead up to a show, comp prep? My training doesn't change, Ricky. I still lift as heavy as I can. Obviously, I'm just a lot smarter, so I might change a couple of exercises, like deadlifts. I won't be doing them off the floor anymore, I'll just be doing them off the rack. Sometimes I'll swap my barbell squats for either a Smith machine or for a hack squat. But that's really it. Nothing changes much. I still lift as heavy as I can, control the weights as much as I can, and the only time that my workout would change in comp prep is maybe the last 4 or 5 days when I'm just depleting all the glycogen out of the muscle. I'll do higher reps, I'll do more like giant sets, do circuits. But for the most part, nothing changes at all with the training. The diet is what brings the body into shape. If you change too much, if you lighten the load of the weights, if you start doing supersets, drop sets and all this stuff with a lighter load, you know, the muscle's gonna shrink before you get to the comp. So the way I see it, you use the heavy weights to build the muscles up to where they are in the off season. You wanna keep them there, all you wanna do is lose the fat. So you have to stimulate the muscle to stay the same. The muscle needs to have a reason to stay there. You need to give the muscle a reason to stay there. So if you're not hitting it and stimulating it with a weight, or a lesser weight than what it's capable of, then it's gonna downsize. That's the way that I see it anyway. That's why I like to lift. I try not to let my weights drop too much pre-contest from what I'm lifting off season. And when they do, I notice it straight away. If the times that I have had diaries and kept track, when I am not lifting as much as what I was in the off season, I find that my body weight's down and I haven't got that fullness or whatever. So that's why I don't write a diary with every single thing that I do, but I normally do keep a book of just, you know, the max weight that I did on each exercise so that I know next time roughly what I should be lifting. So I hope that helps you with that, mate. Okay, next question. Sam Caragiosa says, how do you grow into a show? Look, you grow into a show. I find that I grow into a show, but it's more got to do with as soon as you flick that switch that you start turning onto comp prep, you know, all of your meals are all going to be perfectly timed. You don't want to miss a meal, you don't want to miss a beat. So you're getting all your food in, you're getting all of your fluids in. I'm drinking up to 5-6 litres a day. All of my supplements, everything is down pat when I start contest prep. And usually in the off season, if I miss a meal here and there, you know, I'm not too phased. So, but that's why I think that I grow into a show, because as soon as I know that I've got, you know, 12 weeks or 16 weeks to get on stage, you know, I don't miss a beat. Make sure I get all the protein in, I get all the carbohydrates in, all the fats in, everything. And obviously the body loves that and the body responds to that. I think we all get a little bit lazy in the off season. So that's why I find that I grow into a show. So I just get crazy dedicated, I don't miss meals, I make sure I sleep, you know, 6 to 8 hours, and my body just loves it and just grows. Neil Jones asked me, what am I taking for my gut health now for my stomach? I can't answer that one yet because I haven't started the protocols yet to start rebuilding all of the gut health and things. But once I do, I'll post up a video for you guys and let you know what I'm doing. Because I was surprised actually how many people have digestion and stomach problems. It's been a lot more than I thought were. So it's not just me. There's many people out there that have the same issue. So I'm happy to keep you all posted and on my results if I do get better. So I'll keep you up to date. Daniel Lansfield. I think most people know who Daniel Lansfield is. He's Graham Lansfield's son, the president of NABA. So I know Daniel quite well. He's asked the importance of symmetry and proportion, how to work on getting the complete physique. I put a lot of this down to structure and genetics. If you're training the body, what's the best way to answer this question? So people have dominant body parts, non-dominant body parts. So some people, no matter what they do, their proportion and their symmetry can be because of their genetic makeup and their structure. However, I think you can definitely target certain muscles and prioritize, like I was talking on earlier in the workout around weak points. And I think that's what you have to do. For symmetry and proportion, you have to look at the mirror. Don't be scared to to strip down to your underwear and look at yourself in the mirror and critique yourself and have a good look. That's what Arnold and all that used to do back in the day. I don't think I've ever walked into a gym and seen a whole bunch of bodybuilders critiquing each other and down into their underwear and posing and look at each other's physique. Guys are just so uncomfortable and self-conscious these days, they just won't do it. But maybe they should do it, because I think that's probably why Arnold Schwarzenegger, all those guys, Lee Haney's era, why they all did know what their weak points were, and they knew how to address them, because they had bodybuilders looking at them all the time. So they were not just friends, they were not just competitors competing against each other, they were friends, and they all posed together and looked at each other. So if you're not looking at your physique and seeing what's going on, and even from the back, you can't see a lot of the poses you do from the back. So proportion and symmetry, I think having someone there, or having people there to say to you, maybe you should bring this up, maybe you should try this. I think that makes a big difference, and that way you can prioritize your training. But like I said, it seems like people have got so many insecurities and things now that they don't want to take their gear off. They don't want to take their clothes off in front of people and ask them how do they look. And I think that's a bad thing, because if you don't get criticised and get criticism from people, how are you going to know what needs work? And that's why a lot of bodybuilders are very unproportionate as well, because they just don't take criticism well, and they don't want to listen. So if a bodybuilder that knows more than me, or even just a bodybuilder in general, if I'm posing in the gym and someone critiques me, I'll take it into account. I'll have a look at it, and I'll try to address it. So that's the best way. Just prioritize it around your body. Next question is from James McFarlane. He says, now you're working with, I know you're working with Neil Hill now, but what was it like working with Lee Priest? Well, James, it was really good. Like you can't say that one person's better than the other with any of the people that I've trained with. I've learned so much from Lee Priest. I'm learning and still, I've learned and I'm still learning a lot from Neil Hill. I learned a lot from Sam Ioannidis. I learned a lot from Graham Lansfield. I've learned a lot from many people that I've trained with. So they've all got their merits, and they've all got their strong points, and I've learned great things from all of them. So I can't really say what it's like working with either of them. Everyone has their own way of doing things. Nothing's necessarily right or wrong. I've only just started working with Neil. I'm getting good results. Does that mean that it's going to be the best thing that I've ever done? Am I going to be, am I going to be the best bodybuilder ever? It's all learning. I'm getting bits and pieces from everybody, and then I'm going to take it in, sit down, and assess everything that I've learned, and you implement it as you go. There's still things that Lee taught me that I will still do to this day. There's still things that I learned 10 years ago from Sam Ioannidis that I still do to this day. So that's why it's great to be able to train with so many different people, because you will pick little things out from what they do and like, oh, I really like the way that he did that. I like how my body responds to that. So, you know, it's good working with all of these guys. I'm very lucky that I've had the opportunity to work with the people that I work with, and now I can change my training to suit. Hamish Coulter says, taking time away from the stage to grow versus competing every year. Well, some people's bodies, Hamish, can compete all the time. Like, you have a look at back in the day with, well, we're just talking about Lee Priest, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, all those sort of guys. They competed, a lot of them competed every single year, and they would do sometimes up to 7, 8 shows in a row, week after week, or sometimes like a few days after each other, going from one country to the next. So, you know, we complain about doing 2 bodybuilding shows, you know, 2 weeks apart. Those guys did major bodybuilding shows like a Europe tour, you know, every couple of weeks. So I suppose it really depends. Like, those guys, they didn't take much time off. But in saying that, for me, I've found that I competed every year since I was 18. I think I maybe took 1 year off here or there. And I thought that I really with my body type, I feel that I really needed to take the time to just let my body just grow again, and just have a proper off season for longer than 3 or 4 months. Normally an off season would only be, you know, 3 or 4 months, and I'd start dieting again. So off season this time is like, it's almost a full year where I can just concentrate on eating. And look, I suppose I find that I have to do it more than anybody else, because I have my weak areas to bring up. You know, my hamstrings, my calves. You know, I don't want to be dieting all the time trying to bring up weak body parts. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. But I don't know, everyone's different. Some people can keep competing and keep getting better. Other people, they burn out after a couple of years competing. So very, it depends on the individual with that one. That's the best way I can answer that. So Scott Bennett, next question says, the ultimate goal of your bodybuilding career. How working with Neil Hill has changed any of your theories, thoughts on training? Look, I'm getting better every year, I find now, and you know, it's me against me. Competitive wise, my ultimate goal is obviously to be a good pro. I want to be able to, I'd love to be able to stand amongst a lot of the other top pros, and I think I'm still a couple of years away from that, but I definitely do think in my mind that I can be a good pro. Obviously it takes time, these things. I want to be able to develop my physique, and I want it to still look good. That's the thing. I think a lot of the guys that get too big too quick, they sacrifice that, and then once that's gone, they find it. Scott Bennett says, the ultimate goal of your bodybuilding career. How working with Neil Hill has changed any of your theories and thoughts on training? The ultimate goal of my career is pretty much just to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, obviously I want to be the best bodybuilder I can be. I'd love to be able to stand on stage with some of the top pros in a couple of years' time. But you know, things are just always moving forward for me, as long as things are happening. I've got my sponsorships with BSN, my sponsorship with Massive Joe's. Just on Saturday, I got another sponsorship with Matthew's Nutrition Kitchen, which is a meals company. So you know, I'm still moving forward in that sense. And competing wise, next year I'm going to compete. I'll see how I stack up against pros, and then I'll just keep moving forward from there. You know, I do think that I can be a good pro. I think that I do have the right body for it, body type. But it just depends on how good I can be. You know, obviously the guys up the top are such a small percent of people that are at that elite level. Whether I can or can't do that, I'm not 100% sure. But you know, I have no reason not to try. You know, I've got the sponsorships. I've got my lifestyle as a bodybuilder, running my gym here. So, you know, I've got no excuses not to give it 100%. And I can tell everybody afterwards that I gave it a go and I tried. So, that's what I'm going to do. Neil Hill, how it's changed any of my theories and thoughts on training? Look, it has a lot because Y3T is just very different. So it's changed, it's got me out of the mentality of just doing basic, you know, 8 to 10 reps, 8 to 10 reps, 8 to 10 reps all year round. You know, now I'm doing rep ranges of, you know, from 8 to 10, yes, from 14 to 18, from 18 to 22, from, you know, 30 reps, 40 reps, all the way up to 75 reps on leg presses. So the rep ranges are changing a lot. So that's definitely changed my thought process on things. And my body's still progressing. I'm not getting little injuries and aches and pains. So, you know, he's definitely changed my thinking on a lot of things. And even diet is the way that he's shown me how to diet. It's just, I used to just be a chicken rice, you know, steak rice, fish rice kind of guy, but now I'm getting all the nutrients in from across all the food groups, and I just feel better. So, you know, I've learnt a lot. What else we got? Last question. Talon Tot says, how do you constantly stay motivated, even on the days you're feeling out of it and just don't want to train? Look, Talon, for me, I find that it's very easy because I love it. Like, if I don't come to the gym and I don't train, you know, I feel bad and I feel miserable, and I feel like my day is incomplete. So, you know, I love doing this stuff. But yeah, of course I have my bad days. But it's because I've got through so many of those bad days in like contest prep as well, or if, you know, personal life, if something's going on in your personal life and you don't feel good or whatever, I know that I always feel better after I've trained. So yeah, it might be really tough at the beginning. Driving to the gym, I might be cursing and I don't want to be there. I don't want to do it. I want to just turn around and drive home. But once I'm there, once I start, and then especially towards the end of the workout and the end of the workout, you know, I feel so much better. So, you know, I think for me it comes easy. It's just something that I love to do. I'm very passionate about it, and you know, I'm pretty lost without it. If I don't train, I feel like like I said, like something's missing. So, you know, I think if you really enjoy it, you'll be motivated to do it. So, so that's really it for Q&A, guys. Like I said, I answered a fair few questions from everybody. Tried to answer them as best as I could, all the while still bouncing on my little ball here. So we're going to leave it at that. So don't forget to subscribe to Massive Joe's YouTube channel, like their Facebook page, follow them on Instagram. Check out everything the guys are doing. Don't forget their apparel as well. I know I'm wearing a jumper, we're coming into summer, but you know, TMJ, Team Massive Joe's, they've got lots of cool stuff. They got all of the singlets, t-shirts, hats, shorts, the basketball shorts that everyone likes to train in as well. So don't forget to check them all out, guys. And I'll see you all in the next episode.